You're listening to the Brilliant Breakthroughs podcast, episode number 38 with Greg Nicholson.
Hi, small business owners. Welcome to Brilliant Breakthroughs podcast, where we focus on creating brilliant breakthroughs for the small business owner. FYI, that's also the name of the #1 Amazon best-selling book for small business and entrepreneurs. The good news is you can find this book in paperback as well as ebook form. I got to say that fast. Ebook form. So just so you know which one it is on Amazon, it's Brilliant Breakthroughs for the Small Business Owner. And the subtitle is Fresh Perspectives on Profitability, People, Productivity, and Finding Peace in Your Business. So hi, rock stars. I'm Maggie Mongan, and I'm the anthology leader, which is a fancy word for the one who helped put this all together. And it's a really great book. And today we're honored to have Greg Nicholson with us, who is a #1 best-selling author. And he's going to talk to us about how we can improve our profitability by really making sure that we're working on our customer attraction and marketing message. But we're going to do it a little differently today. So welcome, Greg. Nice to have you here.
Thank you. Good to be here.
You ready to share some of your wisdom with us?
Sure.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. So here's the deal, everyone. Greg's chapter is the second one, and it's titled, If Your Marketing Efforts Aren't Bringing in New Clients, Here's the 3-Step Solution. And we're not going to give it away today. We're going to say, go to chapter 2 and read it.
Yeah. There's some good stuff in there.
Yeah. And Greg, you covered a lot in your chapter. And I have a marketing background, so I really appreciated it. And I know you delivered some really good stuff and a little bit of secret sauce too. But I know that in many ways you only scratch the surface. And I imagine because you're an expert, people come to you and say, hey, I want to know more about marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Where can I go, or what can I check out to get a little better at this whole marketing thing? Do you ever hear that?
Sometimes. I'm surprised I don't hear it more. I I tend to hear, I can't figure the stuff out. Can you figure it out for me? Just do it. I don't want to deal with this crap anymore. So I think a lot of times, at least the people who approach me, it seems like they're more like, you've got a car and your brakes are squeaking and like, I don't care what's going on, just fix my car. So I wish I would hear or get more inquiries in that regard, but I tend to get more, this is broken, fix it for me.
Oh, they're ready to hand the keys over to you, huh?
That's more what I hear than advice, which I didn't really anticipate. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of what has been my experience.
Okay, well, that's fascinating because there's a lot of people out there that think marketing is a mystery, that there's this mystique to it, is probably a good way to say it. And I'm wondering if you're in a pocket of people that are just willing to delegate that out to the master magician.
Maybe. I think that there's, with marketing, there's science and art.
Mm-hmm.
And getting that blend right is challenging for anybody, even, experienced marketers, So yeah, I do think that that's one of the hurdles that people are facing. Most of the small business owners that I talk to have come to me after they've tried this, they've tried that, they hired that person, they've tried this, and they're like, I can't get things to work. I've tried it on my own. I've tried working with a few other people or companies, and it still wasn't, what I was looking for, still lackluster. what can you do? Generally, the house is pretty much on fire by the time they contact me. It's not like a little spark or some smoke. They're like, the house is on fire. Please help me put out the fire.
Oh my gosh, the house is on fire. Okay, everybody, if you haven't listened to Greg's other podcast episodes, please do so, because he explains about the house being on fire. And I have heard a lot of people reference it. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. But yeah, that's just been more my experience is they're hurting, and they're not looking for advice. They're looking for results and solutions right away.
Okay, so there's some really cool resources that even if you you as a small business owner would want to outsource your marketing, it would be advantageous to know a few things that are happening in the world of marketing.
For
Like,
sure.
you're going to share one book that you said is a really great book for everybody to read. And if they read that, I bet it would help if them streamline their process if they were outsourcing their marketing.
Right. And I would say with a caveat that generally I don't recommend that marketing is so important to a company. It is the lifeblood of your business. I don't think you should ever just hand over the keys and just go, all right, well, that's handled. Like back to the house metaphor, maybe wait until, you see the fire go out before you leave, and like, oh, fire crew's here. I'll just head down the street and figure it's taken care of. So I would definitely recommend that you stay involved and know what's going on so that you don't get any unanticipated surprises. So I wanted to be clear on that, to not just hand over the keys to me or anybody else. You're just like, oh, it's done, it's taken care of. I mean, I think that's risky, and I wouldn't recommend that.
Thank you for having the integrity of sharing that, because I agree with you as well. When we outsource, if we have an understanding of what we're doing, we're probably going to outsource to the right person instead of having 2 or 3 people go through it and then finally find the right person. But the other thing is, if we have an understanding, may not be a master of the science and the art.
Right.
But if we have an understanding of what's required, we can show up more powerfully. We can help whomever we're outsourcing get a tighter message quicker. So it actually is going to serve the business much more long term.
I think so. And, for most small business owners, I think, there's constantly changing technologies and metrics and all that. And that can be completely overwhelming. And I can understand certainly wanting to turn that over to somebody else to handle that, kind of like the mechanics fixing your brakes, but let me drive. I do think, there's some basic things that you do need to understand, like what the real value of a new customer is really important to understand. And then what is your cost per acquisition? And so then with those, just a couple of things like that, if you are then having whoever marketing company running things for you, those are the questions that you're going to care about. Like, what type of Facebook ad was it? What kind of keywords do you use on Google? What's the click-through rate? And you probably aren't going to care about that kind of stuff. But you are going to care about how many customers am I getting in at what price point, and determining your marketing return on investment. So as long as you understand those basic things and really understand that, then if you outsource these other things to let these people take care of, what they're experts at doing, then I think you can manage that and make sure you're not, into something 6 months and realize, wait, I've spent how much and I've generated almost no revenue from it, protecting yourself from that kind of a scenario.
Right. And I want to share with everyone, that's one of the things that appeals to me about Greg being a marketing professional, is there's many marketing professionals that will just do what you say and not be vested in the results. And here we have somebody talking straight up, show up, do your part as a business owner. This is ultimately your responsibility because
Mm-hmm.
it's your business. I'm here to provide a service to you, but we need to make sure that it performs properly. And
Right.
that involves collaborating.
It does. And sometimes I'd love to say that every marketing endeavor I've done worked well, but that wouldn't be true. And, sometimes, I've taken on clients and tests and projects that haven't worked out. And, but I'll be upfront with people and say, hey, it's not looking good. And if I were in your shoes, I would shut it down. Obviously, that's not the scenario that anybody wants, but I just always try and operate the business with the kind of golden rule thing. Like if I were my own client, how would I want my money spent? How would I want to be communicated with? And if something's not working, please let me know sooner rather than later.
I completely agree with you. And everyone, I want you to pay attention to what Greg's about to share, because he's going to share a couple tips of resources that he has found very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to introduce them to you and just have a quick chat about each one of them, because we want to make sure that we're giving you about a handful or so of resources to go ahead and become more aware and be part of directing your marketing in the right direction.
Sure.
So
Well,
why don't you start us out, Craig? What's a book that you think is like one that everyone should read?
I think the EMyth Revisited is a good book. And I'll have a couple of caveats with that. I do think he uses an example of Sarah, who is a pie maker, and he helps her. And so a lot of the story and the dialogue in the early part of the book is about that. And I don't think it's very interesting or very useful. But in the later 2/3 or so of the book, I think he really gets down to reality. And I think there's some really good information in there. Why did it resonate with me? I think it's an alternative title for the book might be How to Go from a Job to a Business. And just knowing my background,
Okay.
I spent 20 years doing sales and marketing for a bunch of startup companies, as well as a couple of Fortune 100 companies like Microsoft and Oracle. And so my mindset had been, the job, and how to make that work. When it comes to transforming to an entrepreneur, to a business, it is a different mindset. And I think this book is helpful for that. I also think that even if you don't have a job background like that, maybe you are just a born entrepreneur and you've been doing it since you're 22 years old or whatever, I still think the job model is so prevalent in our society that you kind of have that mindset, even if that hasn't been your path. So I do think this book, if you kind of speed read the first few chapters, I had to kind of speed read it to get through it. It was kind of like a medicine, and like, oh wow, the medicine kind of tastes crummy, but it helps you. So sorry, Michael, for that review of your book, but I do think it's a good book, and worth reading for anybody who is an entrepreneur or
Okay.
Yeah.
So what I hear you say is EMyth Revisited by Michael Gerber, great book. And if you have a hard time through the first couple chapters, just keep moving through it.
Yeah.
Because it'll be worth it once you move through that.
Mm-hmm.
Other people might not have any difficulty, and that's great too.
They might love it.
Yeah.
I know, this is just my take.
Yeah, and I know that I hear a lot of people say it's great, and I heard another one or two people say it's sort of tough at the beginning. And it's not that it's difficult, it's just different.
Yeah, it's not like it's hard reading. It's just I found it really dull.
Okay. And here is an interesting perspective because you're an expert at this. So it may even be that. Who knows? But the good news is this is one that everybody should be checking out. End of
I
story.
think so.
All right, cool. What else do you have for us? Because I know you have a list.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of a site called Buzzsumo. That's Buzzsumo. A lot of the tips today, you may already be familiar with them. But Buzzsumo is a great site for getting viral content. So you can put in just about any topic, and it will spit back. Here are some recent stories about that you could share in a blog. And as if you're anything like me, and I don't blog nearly enough, like Maggie is a blog master, but I'm often like, holy crap, what am I going to talk about? What do I got to say? And so Buzzsumo can be a great asset and resource for you when you're looking to share content with your core audience and giving them something to read that you don't necessarily have to come up with on your own.
Okay, so if you're topically challenged,
Yeah.
that might be a great place to start finding some interesting topics to discuss, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Another tool that I've recently fallen in love with is a tool called Loom, Loom. And so there's lots of different tools out there now for creating videos and screen sharing videos and that sort of thing. But here's why I like Loom. It is super easy to use. It's
Okay.
free. And instead of creating a file that then you have to email to somebody, and the video files get big very quickly, right? I mean, see, 1 minute video, it ends up being megs and megs of data. What Loom does is it changes it into a link. So Loom hosts the video in the cloud, and it's just a link. So you can go and create a very short video, super easy, and then send the link, and the whole thing is just a few seconds and keystrokes away. So I found it incredibly useful. And you and I had talked offline about this, that I've had plenty of situations where we've been on the phone 5 times, we've exchanged 25 emails, and it'd just be so much easier to just send a video. And so I can just do a quick screen share and go, hey, what you're looking for, you click here, and you go here, and you go here, and you're done. And then I click send, and I send the video, link to that video, and it's done. And it's great.
Okay, so you shared this with me before that you even do this with clients, and it streamlines guiding them, and it's in real time yet because it's when it's needed. You create the quick video, and then you send them the link, and then they have that to go to any other time. The question I have for you is, because this is a really cool idea, and I'm thinking of all sorts of applications actually, because I didn't know of Loom. You create this little video you were sharing, and it has a link. Can I send that link to multiple people?
Sure.
And is there a timeline on how long that link is alive?
That's a good question. I don't know, but I've got Loom videos from months ago. They're still active, but I should know the answer, but I don't know the answer of how long do they live on the Loom site. I don't know.
Okay. All right.
And right now Loom is free. I don't know if they're going to change that business model, but my gosh, I love it.
Ooh, so this could be a good clue to go ahead and activate an account and play with it, because if they do charge a fee, you might get grandfathered at a discounted rate.
Right. I love it. It just makes things so much easier, because there's always a site or a report or something, and you're trying to describe it's in the right hand corner. No, the other right. It's like, here you go. It's right here. And people get it. And then I've had clients say, oh my gosh, thank you for sending that video, because I saw it when you sent it to me, and then 2 weeks later, I completely forgot what I was supposed to do, and I went back and watched it again. I'm like, oh yeah, thank you. It's a lifesaver. I love it.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking of. Is situations just like you described for clients.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
very, very cool. Okay, so Loom, Loom.
Yep.
What other goods do you have for us, sir?
SpyFu, SpyFu. It is a great site it lets you look at any website and see what Google AdWords they're using. And this is on the free version. There's paid versions where you can get even more detail, but it has been helpful for me and my clients to be able to look at a competitor and see, okay, what are they doing on Google? What's working for them to help me sharpen the learning curve and hit the ground running to see 4 or 5 competitors, what's working for them. And then when I start up a PPC campaign for pay-per-click campaign
Right.
on Google, I've got a really good idea of what I should be bidding on, and in some sense even what those bids should be. So I'm a big fan.
So SpyFu is like a cheat sheet of
It
the
is.
competition.
It is. You get to no, I won't go there. But you get a sneak peek of what your competitors are doing. I'll just say that.
Yeah, be good. It's an awareness, and it can get you in the realm that they're in if you
Yeah.
apply some of that same wisdom. Okay, cool. Great to know. SpyFu.
Mm-hmm. In terms of like thought leaders, I mean, this isn't really a marketing thing, but I'm just such a huge fan of Malcolm Gladwell. The first book I ever read of his was called Tipping Point, which I just found absolutely fascinating. I loved his book Outliers. I loved his book Blink. And now he's also got a podcast called Revisionist History, which just launched season 3. And I just find him absolutely endearing and super, super smart. And he has this way of looking at everyday things and seeing and bringing in insights that, at least to me, are just so new. And so I listen to Malcolm Gladwell and read his books because I find it food for my brain and soul, because it just gets me thinking, because he's such a brilliant man. So I use it just as food for my soul.
Well, I like that you brought in a thought leader, because so often when we're doing marketing, we tend to see everything at 12 o'clock instead of say, hold on a second, maybe we should look at it from 3 o'clock. And if
Mm-hmm.
we learn how to flex our muscles to see things through different perspectives, we can usually create something that's better.
Mm-hmm.
So this is good. I didn't realize, and I don't know why, it would only make sense that he would have a podcast. So I can't wait to check it out. Do you have a particular episode that you like?
Yeah, I'm a musician as well, and there was a episode, I believe, is in the first season, on the song. Oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank again.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah, that's it.
Hallelujah.
The Leonard Cohen song, and it's a history of the song, of Leonard writing the song, different people who covered the song, and then when Jeff Buckley covered the song, it took a very different approach to it. Then all hundreds and hundreds of artists have covered this song now that are doing the Jeff Buckley version of the song, but the way the song actually started. And so the big story about this is how some things can take time to perfect, and that it takes that certain someone to come along. I mean, obviously Leonard Cohen's a brilliant songwriter. I've never really cared for his singing, but a brilliant songwriter. And then Jeff Buckley took this song and gave this older pretty old song at the time, an entirely new life, and has inspired so many people to appreciate the song that was basically an unappreciated song.
Okay. Which is a cool thing, because to me, that's how marketing is. You start on it, it might be good enough, but it's going back and well, there was a term we said earlier, revisited, but revising it and just playing with it to get it so it's bad word, perfected. I don't want nothing's ever perfect in marketing, but it's a more improved product.
Right. It's kind of like the concept of Kaizen,
Yes.
of continuous
Improvement.
incremental improvement,
Yeah.
knowing that you never get to perfection, but that's the goal. You're aiming for that.
Thank you. Kaizen. Yes. That's
Kaizen,
exactly
yes.
what we were talking about. Beautiful. All right. And then I think you said that you had something you wanted to share about landing pages. Was there one more tool?
Well, I'm a big fan of the site Wistia, Wistia,
Okay.
and it's a video hosting platform. And certainly you can use YouTube to host your videos, and there's arguments to be made, why you'd want videos on YouTube, because obviously anybody can see it and you could get more views. But if you were building any type of an offer where you want to be able to really track who's seen your video, and especially if you want to keep it kind of under lockdown without all the YouTube branding, Wistia will host 3 videos for free. So that's
Okay.
good enough for a lot of people, so you don't have to pay anything, but it's a great way to host your videos, and very lightweight. So if you have that on a landing page or something like that it's going to load quick. It's not going to have all these other YouTube things, like cat videos or or who knows what. There's some pretty outrageous things on YouTube, and I've seen people's sites or landing pages where they're hosting a video, and until you click the video, there's a little screenshot of whatever YouTube thinks you want to see, which may or may not be something that you want your viewers to see. So
Okay.
I like Wistia. I don't think a whole lot of people are using it, so I thought of this could be a useful resource for people.
Okay. So it's isolated videos and they're not branded with YouTube and all, and they're not leading to get everybody to click off onto all the other videos, correct?
Right. I mean, it's your professional video and only that. YouTube is there to promote YouTube, right? Wistia is there to make it like, this is your video. And in particular, if you are doing anything where you've got a course or something else where you've got videos that you don't necessarily want everybody to see, or it's paid content or whatever, or you don't want 14-year-olds making comments on your YouTube video, as the trolls love to do, that you really have got more control over your video content. I think it looks better and on a landing page. So I'm a big fan.
Okay, cool. Wow. You just shared some really nice resources for us. Not too shabby for the guy who doesn't get asked the question enough, huh?
I don't. I wish I did.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'd love for us to talk further, but we'll have to save that for another conversation, okay?
Alrighty.
Because we're getting a little tight on time here. So, listeners, this is how you can learn more and engage with #1 bestselling author and clearly marketing expert, Greg Nicholson. Start by reading chapter 2 in the book, Brilliant Breakthroughs for the Small Business Owner, and gift your business's performance by accepting the invitation that Greg has at the end of his chapter on his author's page. And he also has on that page and the page following different social media handles for you to go ahead and connect with him. And Greg, if they reach out to you, you think you might respond?
I'm pretty darn good at that.
Oh, cool.
As long as you're relatively nice.
Oh, okay. No trolls allowed.
Yeah, please. You've got enough of that.
Okay, so here is something that's really cool. Right now, you can see everything about the book that we've mentioned, as well as how to get a hold of Greg Nicholson by going to the Books app, Brilliant Biz Book. I'll say that again. Go to your app store and type in Brilliant Biz Book. And then click, once you're there, click on Ask an Expert. And you can see Greg Nicholson's name there. And if you click on his name and you type in a question, he'll reply back to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, check that out. He will.
I will.
Which is really great. So everyone, take advantage of that and see what else he knows, because he knows quite a bit. And clearly he's not being asked enough. All right. So, Greg, I want to thank you for your time today and your wisdom sharing.
Oh, my pleasure. It's always fun, and always have a good conversation together, and love being able to contribute and hopefully add value to some folks.
Cool, cool, cool. And listeners, we appreciate you listening to the Brilliant Breakthroughs podcast, where you learn how to create more brilliant breakthroughs for your small business. Until next week, shine brightly.